This is TWiT.
Saw this story fly by the other day, and I clicked on the link, and I mean, the first thing I got to say is the animation at the top of this piece is really cool. So we'll talk about that in a second. But I want to talk about Amazon's Astro home robot. It's a little bit of a Where's Wally kind of situation where we heard about this product, and then it kind of just disappeared after the first day or so, or maybe the first month or so of us hearing about what it was, what different engineers who worked on it had to say about it, et cetera. And then it, started to roll out to folks, and we just didn't know what was going on. Luckily, we've got Mark Gurman from Bloomberg, who pulled out the magnifying glass, put on the detective cap, and used some robotic AI to track down some of these Astro home robots. Welcome back to the show, Mark.
Thanks, as always, for having me. Really appreciate it. The Astro is super fascinating. I wish I would have had the chance to try it out at this point, but it was pretty nice to be able to talk to someone who actually has one and learn more about, like you said, what's going on with this device.
Absolutely. So for the folks out there who maybe didn't hear about it when it came out or didn't get a chance to watch the event, could you tell everybody what the Astro home robot is?
It's literally like your own personal R2-D2 that can follow you around your home. It is a home robot straight out of the Jetsons, and it has a display on it, a tablet-sized screen. So if you're familiar with the Echo Show, that's the Amazon Echo with the display. You can do commands. You can see things on it. It's that, but on wheels, right? It's a couple feet tall. It has 3 wheels, one at the front, 2 at the back, and it uses computer vision and AI and other technology similar to what you would have in a self-driving car to roam around your home. And it can tag onto you, follow you around. It can go to different rooms that you've set. If you've ever used a Roomba vacuum cleaner from iRobot, very similar underlying tech to that. It has a few additional bells and whistles. Like it has that display. It has a couple cup holders if you want to put a drink in there or a beer and whatnot. It has your microphones to be able to talk to it and talk back to you. It has these virtual eyes on the display. And then one of the cooler pieces of equipment on this is what they call the periscope camera. It's a 3.5 foot tall pole with a camera on top that will come out of the base of the robot. So let's say you want to use the security functionality. You want it to roam your home while you're gone. If you want to talk to your dog, if you want to see if you left the burners on, or you want to see if you left your thermostat on, or whatever you may want to do, that camera can go up and down. It can swivel and move. So you can use the corresponding smartphone app, iPhone, Android, etc., to see what's going on visually. You can talk to it. You can hear back from people talking to the robot. So it is a fairly nifty piece of equipment, but like you said, it remains mostly elusive.
Yeah. So before we get into your investigation, I was hoping we could talk about kind of the lead up to this, which is we heard from different engineers who had worked on the product and some folks who maybe got an even earlier look than they did, than the folks who signed up to kind of be a part of this, to buy it, that this maybe wasn't all it was chalked up to be, that it was throwing itself downstairs, that it did not work as expected, that there were some issues. I'm curious, first of all, if you could sort of define what Amazon calls a day one edition product so that people can understand that. And then I'm curious, your thoughts just in general on if you think this was more of a day 0 edition product versus a day 1 edition product based on the reactions that we had early on.
It's funny. So a day 1 edition product is essentially beta hardware that you have to pay full price for. They ship them in limited quantities, but you can buy them if you're granted an invite. So they are invite only. You have to pay for them. You're encouraged to give feedback. Versus a main consumer product is anyone could buy it at any time, ships fairly quickly. It's not a beta. You don't necessarily have to give feedback on the product. You just use it, right? And there is like a sort of an early bird pricing special on this right now for the invite only program, day 1 edition. It's $9.99. They say the actual device will be $1,449, so about $450 more expensive than it is today. And there are issues. So I spoke to someone who has this device near Orlando, Florida. They have all sorts of Echoes and stuff. They say this feels very similar to when the Echo first came out. This person actually had a beta version of the Echo speaker 7 years ago before that went public too. And he said it was, it didn't work so well. It didn't really understand your commands, but over time it improved. Tons of issues with the computer vision. He says that sometimes the robot doesn't know where it is in space. It doesn't know how to move around stairs. It doesn't respond quickly. Sometimes when you're controlling it with the iOS app, the robot moves very sluggish versus if you tell it to if you operate it through Alexa, it'll move much more swiftly. So there are tons of bugs. But Mikah, I think the fundamental problem with this device isn't the core technology, because you can figure that out, right? Amazon has so much money, so many engineers. They can repair the computer vision. They could fix that. The fundamental problem with this device is that it does not have a fundamental use case, and Amazon has not sold mass consumers on why they should have this product. Even if they nail the engineering and the technology, which they will because they're Amazon and all these tech companies, they eventually figure it out, right? But it's not important enough just to figure the tech out. You have to figure out why people should buy this thing, why I want one in my home, why I want to spend $1,000 on this thing. See, home robots in the past did have use cases. I have a Roomba at home. I have actually 2 Roombas at home, one that does the vacuuming and one that does the floor washing, right? Those have a purpose. I could sell to myself, you know what, I'll pay $500 for a home robot that will do something for me. Would I pay $1,000 for a robot that can follow me around to hold my water and play music? Right? Probably not.
Right.
So they need to nail the implementation.
Yeah, and I mean that makes me ask, what was the sort of value prop for this product? Because I'll give an example. When the Apple Watch first came out, you probably remember, I think it was even Tim Cook who described it as the most personal product that Apple has ever made. And there was this like sharing your heartbeat with somebody else. And it was very communication oriented. And it had all of these goofy features where you could send taps and things to other people. And over time, as Apple saw how people used it, then that sort of shaped how the product was. But Apple had this original idea for what this product was supposed to be used for. What is Amazon's current idea for what this product is supposed to be used for? What is it aimed at doing? And then if it's aimed at whatever Amazon is saying, why is it that people aren't into this idea?
So it's very similar to the original Apple Watch. And to your point, Apple threw everything at the wall and they let people pick over time what they felt the device's main use case would be for, right? I mean, I use mine like a mini iPhone more than anything, which I think is not originally how it was intended. They wanted to do the clocks, the fitness, all that kind of stuff. But now it's fitness notifications and texting and whatnot. Astro is being positioned as an at-home security device. It's being positioned as a little device that can roam your home. If glass breaks, if there's a fire, if there's something going on, we can run over there and figure out what's going on. Learn if it needs to notify you. Learn if it needs to call paramedics or the police or whatnot. Learn if it needs to help a small child or an elder. So lots of security functionality. But there's also the main Alexa commands. There's the idea of having an Amazon Echo that follows you around anytime you need it, right? Who wants that? Right. So I think at this point, security is probably the primary feature. But, Amazon has another day one edition device. This is I believe it's day one edition. It's a Ring drone that flies around your home to monitor while you're away. I think I would rather have a drone than a robot roaming around. Right. How cool would the drone be?
Right.
So
right.
I think that drone actually is going to do pretty well. I really do. Are you familiar with that? Have you seen that?
Absolutely.
The Ring drone?
Yeah, the Ring.
I think that's going to be great.
And
I think they gave it some simple name like the at-home cam or something, right?
Yes.
But it's basically it's a drone, and it's I would get that personally, and I think it's much cheaper.
It solves. Exactly. It's less expensive. It solves some of the issues that the robot will have, which include, not being able to go around stairs. I think, though, either of them, or both of them, rather, have a certain creep factor that I can't seem to get past personally. And that's where I'm wondering, why do you think that the people who do have this, because you tracked down this one fifth grade teacher in Florida who was happy to talk about it. But as you mentioned, usually when people get something early, they love talking about it. They love posting videos about it. They love to say, hey, check out this thing that I got that not everybody else gets to have. But we haven't seen a lot about this. Is it because people unbox it and it works so poorly that they just are like, actually, I don't want to talk about this? Or is it because of the sort of fear of judgment? Oh, you want Amazon following you around in your home? That's so weird. What do you think personally maybe the reason why this fifth grade teacher who's a super big Amazon fan was the only one who's talking about it, despite the fact that it has been made available to many folks?
I mean, to be completely honest with you, I found 2 people in the world with the Astro, contacted both of them, only got 1 reply. So 50% hit rate, right? Which isn't bad at all in this line of work. But 2 people, only 2 people posting about $1,000 device that only a tech fanatic would really want at this point.
Right.
You know what that means? It means there's very few in the world. And to be honest with you, I believe there's between 50 and 100 in the wild, not operated by Amazon employees. And so I think that's why you're seeing such limited traction at this point. So they basically announced the device 6 months ago, and they've sold between 50 and 100 of them, right? That's an issue within itself. They spent 4 years development time on this, even more. They spent billions of dollars in research and development, employees, taking people off of other projects, building facilities for this, and it basically launches to a dud, right? Imagine if Apple launched the first iPhone or the first iPad and they sold 1,000 units, right? Wow. We're talking about 100 here. So
yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. That makes a lot more sense, that there just aren't that many other than Amazon employees who probably are not able to talk about it as openly as this person was able to.
And I will tell you something, because I did ask Amazon before I published the story, is there some sort of gag order or some sort of requirement in the day one edition program where if you get one of these devices, you can't talk about them? And they were very clear and said, no, there is no requirement. If you get one, you can talk about it just like any other product you buy. So I think that adds some extra intrigue into how limited these things are so far.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And one of the things that you noted too, and I have to admit that I have been guilty of this in the past. I've signed up for a couple of day one edition products that I got and then didn't provide feedback because it's not required. The fifth grade teacher said, yeah, I got this robot, but I haven't really provided any feedback. I mean, you have to wonder if that's also something that Amazon is considering if they are looking to improve upon this product. I mean, was it just about selling these things, or are they trying to eventually make a robot that people would want? Is this kind of the first step into things? And how do you think that they're going about kind of figuring out what users want if there are so few of these out in the wild?
I got to tell you, if they're really expecting good feedback, they should be giving them away. They shouldn't be charging people, right, $1,000 and expecting feedback, right? If someone gave me something for $1,000 for free in exchange for giving feedback, I'd give some pretty detailed feedback and try to improve the product because they did something nice for me. I would do something back for them. The problem is they're charging people top dollar and still expecting feedback. So I don't think that's necessarily a great strategy per se. One thing about the day one edition products, so I don't think this is the third, but it's the third that I know about. There was the Echo Frames and there was the Loop, which is sort of like a ring with a microphone and speaker on it. You can talk to it like this, which is, I think the ring, I tried it when they announced it. I thought that was pretty nifty and pretty cool. The glass is not for me. I don't really see the point. Yeah, what's the point if you can just get Amazon earbuds if you're in the Alexa ecosystem? Why would you want the whole glasses situation that provide no lenses-based AR, VR functionality? The Loop, they actually discontinued, but I actually thought that was kind of nifty.
I agree with you there. I think that the Loop was a much cooler product. I had the day one edition Echo Frames. The sound was terrible. And so it's like, why even have a cruddy pair of Bluetooth headphones when I can just talk to ALEXA in other ways? I don't need to have ALEXA in my frames if it's not even going to sound very good and there's nothing that I'm seeing in front of my vision. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I guess then my question for you is, does Amazon see the Astro as the sort of its only approach into robotics, or do you think we're going to see more robotic stuff from Amazon going forward?
So on the consumer side, I think everything is going to sort of break out of, Astro. There'll be probably in the future, if they continue down this path, multiple iterations, maybe Astros with arms, maybe Astros with vacuum cleaners or additional functionality. In terms of Amazon as a larger conglomerate, right, one of the biggest companies in the world, they do implement robotics into their warehouses, into their fleet management. Obviously, they have been working on self-driving car technology with, their Rivian partnership and other partnerships they have going on there. But in terms of at home, consumer grade, I think it all starts with Astro specifically.
Understood. Well, Mark Gurman, I want to thank you so much for joining us again today. We do appreciate you. If folks want to follow you online and check out all the great work that you do, where should they go to do so?
Thank you, as always, for having me. I'm at twitter.com/Mark Gurman. And please, if you have not already, subscribe to Power On. It's my newsletter where you can get details on all this and much, much more, particularly about Apple, Amazon, and Peloton. And Mikah, please have me back on again soon. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us today. And yes, we'll have you back on again soon.
Thanks.